coach I'm covering today for April. I know she's your usual lady. Okay, so hopefully you won't be disappointed. All right, but anyway, like I said, my name is Lynn from the company. I do most of the programs more out east. So today, what we're going to be doing is making our very own sweet bread or old-fashioned Easter bread is what we call it. Okay, so everybody should have a recipe. We are going to be making half of the recipe. So I do have a little sample here, not to eat. I'm going to give it to the librarian, but just to show you, when it's all done and baked. Oh, hi, I'm Lynn. Okay, so I'll show you that in a minute. But if you look at the recipe, there's so many different varieties of sweet bread. I guess down generation to generation, over the years, people have kind of changed it, tweaked it a little bit, depending on what their background is. This recipe, we call it the old-fashioned Easter bread or sweet bread recipe. It actually has no yeast in it, okay? What's going to help it rise is the baking powder. So it's actually a nicer, thicker, I don't want to compare it to Irish soda bread because it tastes much better, in my opinion, sweet, but it is actually a little, heartier. All right, so if you look at the recipe, we have 3 cups of all-purpose flour. We're going to make sure that it's level. Again, we are going to be breaking this in half. When you guys do come up, I'll have you come up in, groups so that we don't all have to wait in line for 10 minutes standing up. But the full recipe is 3 cups all-purpose flour, level, half a cup of your basic sugar, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Those are your dry ingredients. You just put them all in a bowl, very simply. Just stir them, make sure that you mix everything together. And then in a separate bowl, what you'll do is you would incorporate 2 eggs, okay? 2 tablespoons of any kind of oil you have in the house, with the exception of olive oil. Okay, vegetable, canola, corn oil is fine. Also, a half a cup of milk, whole milk preferably, or 2%. I wouldn't go, any low fat than that. And then vanilla extract. We have 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. You can use almond also. I like the almond flavor, but again, there's really no wrong or right to making this bread. In my opinion, the sweeter the better, okay? And did I mention sugar? Half a cup of, that's in the dry ingredients, okay. So basically, we'd be incorporating our dry with our wet liquid together, forming a nice dough. We don't want it tacky where it's sticking to our hands or our gloves, because then it's going to stick to our parchment paper where we will be kneading it out and braiding it, okay? So what I'll do is I will, rather than demonstrate it first, I'll do it right along with you guys so we can do it together, make our braided dough, get it in our little tins to take home. And let me just show you quickly. I did the portion that half of the recipe. And what I did was some traditions, I believe Italian, put the little egg in it. It's supposed to mean fertility. What you do is you take a raw egg, you color it just like you were coloring Easter eggs. However, make sure you keep it raw, okay? Color it. And then once you're done kneading out and kneading out and braiding out your dough, you just plop a little egg right in the middle, and then you just let it bake in the oven, 350 degrees. The large portion, what you have here, the double size of this, would be about 40 minutes. You check it. Make sure that, your little stick comes out nice and clean. This, in this little tin here, took about 25 minutes in my oven, okay? But again, rule of thumb, you guys know you're all bakers. So you just put a little pin in there, not a pin, a toothpick or a little thin knife, and just pull it out. If it comes out nice and clean, it's good. What you guys can also do when you get home, if you want, melt a little bit of butter and just glaze the top of it. Or again, this is a sweet bread. Take it out of the oven when it's done and let it cool a little bit. Make a little sugar glaze if you have powdered sugar at home. A little water, a little powdered sugar, a little bit of vanilla extract or whatever, or not. And just kind of drizzle it over the top, put some sprinkles on it. And like I said, there's so many different ways you can tweak this recipe. But it is pretty delicious, and it's even better when it's served along. Okay? Oh, okay, so that's what it is. Basically, just took a raw egg and color like it's Easter time. Okay? And that is it. So, what you guys are going to do, rather than have a line of 20 of you at the flour, I put 2 little bowls out of flour. When you come up, what you'll do, because you guys are going to be working individually, these little tins are what you're going to be using to mix your dough. And it will be fine because I did it yesterday in one of these tins. I didn't want you guys to have to work together as teams with big bowls because it just becomes a little too complicated. So when you do get your tin, come over. And when I got back to I said, let's make it the best bowl that we can. So this is just for mixing your dough before we put it out on a parchment paper. So you're going to take your level, make sure it's level. We don't want our dough too dry. So that means take a little knife, level it off. It's going to be 1 full cup and then another half a cup of your flour. Okay? That's your dry ingredients. Little pinch, literally a little pinch of salt. Okay, I'll put a little 1/4 teaspoon there. You have your baking powder. Okay, and with the baking powder, you have 1 teaspoon. You're gonna do it heaping teaspoon. Okay, just slightly heap it. Okay, so that's your dry ingredients. And then one more thing you'll add to that is a 1/4 cup of your sugar. All right, so that will be your dry ingredients. So if you guys want to start, come to the center, I'll leave behind, and I'll help you guys out with the sugar, the baking powder, and the salt. And then once we get our dry ingredients back to our table and we mix it with our fork, which I'm going to hand you as well, then you'll come back up, you'll grab your egg and your other liquid ingredients in another bowl, and then we'll get to the next step. All right, sound good to everybody? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. All right, so whoever wants to come, if you start. All right, so stir it up.
Put it in?
No, not yet. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, once you've scrambled up your egg, your liquid ingredients, what you're going to do is make a little well with your fingers in the center of your flour mixture, okay? And then
I got a swimming pool.
oil, okay. So, you guys make a little well. I did not, my well kind of fell, but that's okay. Okay. Oh, you need a little more flour? Okay, maybe we didn't give you enough. All right, so once you made a little well, you're going to pour the liquid ingredients. Okay, I'm going to give you that much. You're going to try with that, okay? So go ahead and pour your liquid ingredients in, and we're going to be mixing with our fork as much as we possibly can before we even attempt to take it out of the bowl. While you guys are doing that, if you watch what I'm doing, I'm just kind of scraping around the perimeter of the bowl. I'm kind of forcing the flour into the center. Just use your fork really until it starts to really dry up. We don't want to put our fingers in here at all right now because it's only going to stick to our gloves. While you're doing that, it's going to take you a couple minutes. I'm going to give each of you a piece of parchment paper, okay? And that'll be a little workstation to work with your dough some more. Just scrape it off on the side and continue to do the same thing. So let me hand out the parchment paper before we do anything else. All right, so scramble that up. I'm going to be lazy. I'm just going to put it right into my mixture.
No.
All right, so stir it up.
Put it in?
No, not yet. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, once you've scrambled up your egg, your liquid ingredients, what you're going to do is make a little well with your fingers in the center of your flour mixture, okay? We're going to be mixing with our fork as much as we possibly can before we even attempt to take it out of the bowl. While you guys are doing that, if you watch what I'm doing, I'm just kind of scraping around the perimeter of the bowl. I'm kind of forcing the flour into the center. Just use your fork really until it starts to really dry up. We don't want to put our fingers in here at all right now because it's only going to stick to our gloves. While you're doing that, it's going to take you a couple minutes. I'm going to give each of you a piece of parchment paper, okay? And that'll be a little workstation to work with your dough some more. Just scrape it off on the side and continue to do the same thing. So let me hand out the parchment paper before we do anything else. Once you feel it looks like it's coming together, kind of looks like crumbles, what you'll do is, and again, just clean off your knife on the edge of your little tin bowl-y thing you want to call that. I'm going to come around and give you guys a little pinch of flour on your parchment paper, okay? This way you can coat your hands with the flour, all right? And you can just sprinkle a little bit when you do, well, before you put your dough out on your parchment paper, you're going to sprinkle out a little flour and just spread it out a little bit all over your parchment paper, okay? So, all right, so like I said, one hand in the bowl. Feels a little sticky, take a little bit of that flour from your parchment paper. How's everybody's dough so far? Is it tacky or does it feel like it's coming together? All right. If it's tacky, don't just drop it on your parchment paper. Just add a little bit of flour into the bowl, okay? And sprinkle it. And try to scrape out as much of that dough from your bowl so that, you don't waste any. All right? How much did you need it? Well, we want to make sure, we're going to knead it so that we can stretch it out into two rolls, okay? And like I said, this is a grittier, denser dough. Has a lot of sugar in it. So as long as you can knead it into a ball, okay? You don't have to knead it anymore. Just knead it into a ball. If it feels a little tacky, feel it. If it feels a little bit tacky, just take a little bit of that flour, okay? But you should have a nice little dough ball like this. Okay, the goal is not to knead it until it's smooth. It's not going to smooth out because it has a lot of sugar in it. Again, it does not have yeast, excuse me. And the yeast would, if we used yeast in our recipe, it would really activate the flour to rise. It would be rising as we are working with it. Okay? There are plenty of recipes with the yeast. But like I said, this one just has baking powder in it, which is our leavening agent. Okay. How's everybody doing so far? You have a nice little bowl? You working on it? Okay, good. We'll let you all catch up. Okay. So now what we're going to do is just take your dough, break it into 2 equal halves. Okay? And again, if it still feels a little tacky, just blot it on your parchment paper. Okay? Because what we're going to do is we're going to stretch it a little bit. Okay. And this, again, does not have yeast in it, so it's not going to become rubbery. It may very well break as you're stretching it out. You can take that, like I said, you're going to break it into 2 equal halves. Start stretching it out into like a cigar, okay? And gently stretch and roll. Because if you just roll it out, like I said, there's no yeast in this. The yeast is what would make it, elastic and stretchy. This is going to want to break, okay? So you're just going to roll it out. You have to put and if you can see the thickness of mine, I'll hold it up. It's about 1 inch thick all the way around, okay? So our goal is to make 2 equal, I'll call them ropes, all right? Doesn't matter if it looks a little floury, that's fine. The goal, again, is just to make sure that they stay intact. If it doesn't break in half, no biggie. We're just going to put them together. All right, so that's what you guys are going to do with your dough. Is there anybody who's still having trouble with their dough? As long as you can work with it.
You need more flour.
You need more flour?
You need flour, right?
Yeah.
Oh, just need a little more strength. Yes. This is good. Okay, don't roll it anymore.
Thank you.
Okay.
How's everybody doing so far? As long as it's not sticking to your parchment paper.
We're following, we're not saying anything. Okay, that looks good, right?
Is yours still sticky?
Yeah, from the
Okay.
parchment paper.
Put it over here. I'm not sure why. Is there two ends in here? Oh,
I can figure when I mix it, it's real wet,
yeah, okay.
One's gonna be a little fatter than the other.
This should be good. Okay, and you'll break it into equal halves, and then you'll roll it out like a little okay? How is everybody else? Anybody else having problems with their dough? Two. Yeah, we're just gonna do a double braid.
You know how to write and the other one doesn't. How long do you make these? Oh,
Looks good. The dough looks very nice. How are you ladies doing? Good, good, good. Next is, very simply, I want to make sure, well, that I spray each and every one of these tins, because you will be taking them home. I'm going to braid them, but you will be taking them home in one of these tins with a lid.
Oh.
And you can bake them right in these tins.
oh, so we don't need.
So that's why I want to spray them so they don't stick. But what we're gonna do before I hand these out, if everybody has their little ropes, and again, your ropes look a heck of a lot better than mine. So you have your little ropes, and it's so simple. All you're gonna do is twist, okay? So just cross it over. They're both next to one another. Cross it over and just twist. Twist.
Hello.
Don't twist 1,000,001 times, but twist a nice tight rope, okay? And try not to lift it too high, because it'll break, just like mine. So just help to twist along. If it breaks, no biggie, just push it right back together. All right, so you have a nice little rope,
And just keep twisting it.
okay? And then you can just,
Going in the wrong
shape it a
direction.
little bit
It doesn't
so it
make
looks
any
all
difference.
uniform.
We'll put them out
And
the
it's nice
same.
and braided. And again, make sure it's not sticking onto your parchment paper, because then we're gonna have a hard time getting it up. And then, fabulous. What was that? Well, what we're gonna do, the last step is, we're gonna
Sometimes
put
it's
it in the
easy
tin,
just
you're
picking
gonna
up
form a
weight on
little
top.
wreath, okay? So it's hard to see mine, I didn't do the greatest job with my little rope there, so it kind of looks, kind of lumpy. But we are going to use the tin, okay, to shape the little wreath with our rope. That's what we're gonna do. And again, like I
This
said,
one
if
looks,
you do
this
get
end
these
looks better
home,
than that end.
since
Look
you're
at
gonna most likely bake them in these tins, put a little cookie sheet under them, okay, because they are thin. Otherwise, you really have to watch it. Put it in the center of your oven, center rack, okay? And again, if you don't have a cookie sheet, you have some tin foil, maybe 2 or 3 pieces of tin foil, just to let it sit underneath so it just is a little bit, doesn't burn.
So how
okay?
come they look good, but this doesn't?
All right, so how did everybody do? Good. So I'm just gonna hand you all, you'll come up, you'll get one of these little sprayed tins. Boy, they stick together like glue, these things. Alright, and once you put it in there, just shape it around, the perimeter. They're big enough, they're gonna, sure.
I got a little one and big one.
There you go, you're welcome.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much.
You think?
And again, if you want, you can just use this to take it home and take it out carefully if you don't want to bake it in the tin. If you want it to be a little larger, and expand a little more, then you can take it right on. Put it right on a grease. Or, like I said, if you look at the recipe on the bottom, it should say, if you want to make a little glaze, just a little bit of powdered sugar, a little water, and an extract.
You use lemon?
Anything. I use, like I said, I like almond extract in the.
They're over here? Yeah.
Okay, and that's all there is to it, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, you're welcome.